went through 5 different research studies that studied over 100 millionaires and how they became successful, what it means, how did they do it, what are the necessary steps, all the things that you may want to know to become successful. My name's Zach Dingy. I run a solar sales company that does over $50 million a year in sales, and I want to talk about these articles. First one I want to show everyone is from New Trader U. The 10 things most self-made millionaires have in common. Here was number 1. This one is crazy. It may not be shocking to you, but it was really shocking to me. The study done on New Trader U shows that self-made millionaires, 88% of wealthy individuals dedicate at least 30 minutes each day to self-educate through reading, compared to only 2% of those struggling financially who do the same. 88%. That's almost 9 out of 10 millionaires read 30 minutes a day. So when people ask like, well, why can't I just watch YouTube content, or why can't I just listen to podcasts? Why do I have to read? That's boring. I'm just giving you the data here, which says almost 9 out of 10 people read that are self-made millionaires. Why is that? Well, you can ask yourself. I don't know, maybe because people who write books probably have something to say, and there's probably some good information in there. On top of that, we live in a very dopamine consistent world where you can scroll on your phone or watch TV or do all of that stuff. And it's very easy to do that and to not read books or not study or not do the hard thing and sit there and read and be kind of bored sometimes, right? So comparative to that, 88% of wealthy individuals dedicate 30 minutes a day. Let me give you the opposite effect to this one. This other article by the Medium shows on here, rich people don't watch TV and screen time. Only 6% of self-made millionaires that were studied admitted to watching reality TV shows. So again, I'm not saying that you can't be rich if you don't read books and watch reality TV. All I'm saying is it's probably going to be much more difficult, and that's not a common habit of a millionaire. If you want to become a self-made millionaire, you got to sacrifice and do some things that the normal people won't do. One of my favorite quotes is that if you want to have the life that 99% of people don't have, you have to do what 99% of people aren't willing to do. So that means waking up early, reading books, doing all the things we're going to talk about today. But the first point is that 88% of people read for 30 minutes a day, and only 6% of them watch reality TV shows. Pretty shocking. Finding number 2 in these articles was they don't look rich. The normal person thinks of a millionaire. They think of someone who has a Rolex watch on, drives in a Lamborghini, has a Supreme oversized t-shirt on, tight skinny jeans and loafers, and a crazy bad haircut. That is like the common theme now for what a millionaire seems to be today, and that's a very small percentage of them. So this was a study done by Acorns, and this is pretty interesting too. A big part of building wealth is focusing on frugality and avoiding lifestyle creep. We've talked about that in previous videos. To that end, 64% of millionaires describe their homes as modest. All the millionaires I interviewed own their homes, and 56% own their homes for at least 20 years. Over half buy used cars as well. So let's just break that down for a second. 64% of millionaires describe their home as modest, meaning they don't live in a big crazy house, or they don't have a $40 million house in Malibu. On top of that, over half of the millionaires have used cars. That's another crazy thing. When you look at a lot of people, everyone wants to buy a new car and a big house. Those are like the 2 biggest things. But over half of the millionaires don't have a brand new car and don't have a big house. So it's the complete opposite you would think of someone who's rich. It's inverse. They don't buy brand new cars and they don't buy big houses. They buy modest homes and buy used cars. Now, my take on this is that it's not that you can't have those things. It's just everything comes in its time and place. And you have to make sure that your wealth is so much more sizable than your house or your car before you go and make a stupid purchase decision. So right now I live in a very modest home. My house is 1,600 square feet. I pay $3,600 a month, I think, for my mortgage. And it's nothing special at all. I don't got a lot of land. I don't have any acres. It's a 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath house. My income is multiple 6 figures a month, but I live in a house that only cost me $3,600. Why? because there's a time and place. I'm 27, I live with my fiance. I don't need a house that costs me $15,000 a month. I will just have this house, live in it, pay the mortgage, and enjoy my life, and that's that. So in the future, will I have a big house? Of course, but there's a time and a place. So number two was that, finding number two is that a lot of them don't look rich, so do not underestimate anybody you see. I've sat at tables, sitting the guy next to me, actually, he ended up being my coach for a long time. I met him at the Volt conference. I sit down next to this guy, we start chatting it up. He was in the solar industry as well. He's got a white t-shirt on, basketball shorts, and regular shoes on. And we're at this conference where everyone's dressed in a suit. And we're talking. Come to find out, this guy's worth over $100 million. And I'm like, holy crap, this guy's a big freaking deal. Like, this guy's got some serious money. He ended up being my coach for a long time, but long story short, the guy was wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt at a conference, and I didn't think anything of him. So be careful who you judge. The next one probably isn't gonna shock you. This one wasn't that surprising to me because I know what it takes to become a millionaire, and they work seriously hard. About 73% of millionaire studies reported working an average of 58 hours a week, and 44% of reported studies waking up at least 3 hours before their workday begins. So let's focus on the first one. 73% of millionaires worked an average of 58 hours a week. I think to get to the $1 million mark is the really, really hard part. Once you have money, it becomes a lot easier to make money, multiply that money, and compound your money. But that beginning initial force to get to that million generally will take people 50 to 80 hours a week of working time. And it's hard, it's not easy. No one said it was gonna be easy. That's why it's the 1% of America. But getting to that millionaire status, you typically have to work more than the next person. Like I said before, if you want what 99% of people don't have, you have to do what 99% of people aren't willing to do, which is work 60 hours a week. It's not a small thing. It's an extra 20 hours compared to the normal workforce. It's funny. I was on a call last night with all of our managers, and we were going through like what our schedules look like, and we're doing like a time audit on where we're spending a lot of our time. And my VP was going and breaking down his schedule and what he wants it to look like next week. And he gave like this, it was like 8 or 9 minutes where he broke everything down, explained his Monday through Friday, what he was gonna do. And he got to the end of it, and it's like 10 of us on the call. And I go, so the only thing I got out of that is you're only working 40 hours a week? And everyone started laughing. And the thing is, in the world we live in America, in the capitalist society we have, and the way that the world operates, it's very hard to get ahead of everyone else if you're only willing to put in 40 hours a week, because there is no time cap on when everyone else has to work. We all have the same amount of hours. And if somebody else is putting in 60, 80 hours a week, they're doing double your work output if you're doing 40 hours a week. And so if you want to be successful 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to put in 60 or 58 or more hours a week to become successful. Finding number 4 is multiple streams of income was a non-negotiable. Now, says research indicates that self-made millionaires don't rely on a single source of income. They cultivate an average of 7 different streams of income. I think this is a common thing that people see all the time. I want to really debunk this because I've talked about this in previous videos, and it's something that kind of drives me nuts. And so, according to Tom Corley's study, 65% of self-made millionaires had at least 3 streams of income before earning their first $1 million. I would love to know what that study is saying about what the 3 different types of streams of income are, because here's my take on it, right? Let's say you run a business, and let's say you run a service-based business, and your goal is to make $1 million a year, right? Take home net to you. That business you may only be taking $300,000 a year out of the business for yourself, but the business is making a lot of money. That money that you're taking to yourself, if you're just reinvesting that back into stocks or other kind of, if you're reinvesting that back into the stock market and you're not touching it, and that account grows to $1 million, is it a stream of income? Yes, but you're not like actively working on that. You're taking your money, you're giving it to a finance guy, and he's investing in stocks for you. You didn't have to go and work for that and take your eye off the ball of what you're doing. And so I think when people hear 3 streams of income, they think they need 3 separate businesses. I do not think that is the case. I think you have your main business where you make a lot of your money, and then you have things that are very, very similar and close to that business that also make you money. Like, for example, let's say you're running a home service industry or home service business like roofing, and you're crushing it. Maybe on top of what you're doing in your roofing business, you may do some consulting and kind of help other people, help other small roofing companies in other territories and get paid a percentage of that. You may then also take your money and invest it in stocks on the outside and make money in that. Then you have your main business. Well, that's 3 streams of income, but it's all focused on the same thing. You're not like dividing yourself up into 10 different things trying to make income. And that is the common thing that I see when people read these kind of articles, that millionaires have 3 or 7 or whatever amount of streams. It's all either one of 2 things. One, they made all their money in one place and then divided up after, or all the streams are very, very similar and closely knit, and then they're saying it's 3 or 7 different streams, and really it's all the same avenue. They make content about roofing, they coach other roofers, they make money in their actual roofing business, they invest in real estate in the roofing industry, and then they invest in stocks. Like, all of that is still basically the same thing. So be careful with this one. Don't feel like you need to go do 7 different things making you 100 grand a year. You really need to do one thing really, really good, and then branch off of that one thing that all makes you money, right? So be careful with the multiple streams of income thing. I made all of my money in solar, and then I started investing it elsewhere before I just started dividing up my time into everything, right? Finding number 5 is they invested consistently and early. If you read the article here from Acorns, which a lot of this is kind of blending into each other, some of these are the same articles, but nearly half of all the self-made millionaires were saver investors who saved 20% or more of their income from the first day they started working. It is a common trait for people who become millionaires to be savers and investors, because it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. And so if you want to become a millionaire, you have to take that money, that excess income, and not buy stupid things. That is, I think, the biggest thing that keeps people from becoming a millionaire. Because at the end of the day, everyone's going to be a millionaire in their lifetime. They are going to, even if you make $50,000 a year, 50,000 times 20 years is $1 million. Number one, you're trying to compress the time frame. And number 2, you're trying to take that excess money and invest it to make you more money. There's a great book called The Millionaire Next Door. And it's basically about a guy who is writing about his neighbor, and the neighbor was just normal average guy, drove an old used pickup truck, lived in a very modest home, and didn't really seem like he was any special kind of character. And then after he died, they ended up finding out this guy had like $11 million or $12 million or some big number of money. That is because he didn't need to be this super rich guy or have this big time job. If you invest for long enough and you save enough money, you'll become wealthy. Now, the caveat to all that, and my take is, I don't want to be wealthy when I'm 55, 60. I want to be wealthy in my 30s. Arguably for me, I want to be wealthy in my 20s, which is what I have now. But realistically, I think the goal for most people is to be wealthy by your 30s and 40s, not by your 50s and 60s. That is a huge difference. Being a millionaire in your 30s, I can promise, is much better than being a millionaire in your 60s. And so the point of that is, yes, you need to save. Yes, you need to invest. However, you do need to make enough money to put away money so that you can become wealthy early. If you're only investing $500 or $1,000 a month, it's going to take a long time to be a millionaire. If you're investing $5,000 to $10,000 a month, it's going to happen much faster. So yes, do they consistently invest, and then do they do it early? 100%. But they may start at $100 a month, and by year 5, they're investing $10,000 a month. And by year 10 in business, they're investing $50,000 a month. That is the goal, is as that grows, you start to invest more and more and more. Finding number 6 was their environment was intentional. This is one that, I mean, like, all of them are obviously important in this video, but this one really rings home to me because I'm very big on the environment and the people I spend my time around. That's why I pay so much money to go to seminars and events and to go coaching, consulting. I want to be around high-level people. I want them to rub off. I want their energy to rub off on me so that I can become more successful and I can get in that mindset, right? Almost 3/4, 72%, reported that they volunteered 5 hours or more a month at local nonprofits. And 27% of them were on the board of directors of a local community-based charity helping them run their organization. The majority of self-made millionaires were passionate about mentoring others, and three-quarters said they wanted to pay it forward. Very, very, very common trait. A lot of millionaires that self-made it, that went out and earned it, they know what it takes to get to that level. And so they want to give back and help other people. In my business, I'm the president of sales. We have about 70, 80 people in the company. So much of my business and why I do things the way we do things at this point is because I want to go hire that 21-year-old and have him within a year make $100,000 a year. And I want to have him over the course of 5 to 10 years have $1 million or $2 million or $3 million in his bank account and live a totally different life because this person was smart with their money and I got to help them do that. So many millionaires I meet want to give it back. Yes, they're busy. Yes, it's hard for them. And so they won't give you all their time, but they give back. They donate to charities. They give their time and energy and resources to people. They want to help you. They want to mentor. And oftentimes these people genuinely want to help other people succeed. So this is a very common trait that I find in millionaires that I find to be very true. And this study also explained it. But the other part to this is their environment of who they're around and who they hire, right? So like most millionaires are optimistic people. You don't meet a lot of millionaires who are super pessimistic and don't think the future is bright. These people are optimistic about life and they want to spend time around good people. It says here, the majority of self-made millionaires said that creating a community of positive, goal-oriented people was a big part of their success, with over 80% hiring a team of smart, dedicated individuals that relied on to help them achieve their vision. So 80% of their people they employ, they want to be smart and educated and enjoy their time around. Because at the end of the day, all the business really is, at the end of the day, is a group of people trying to accomplish one goal together. Like, we run a solar company. The whole goal of it is everyone is trying to get more solar installed faster, better, more efficient, and make more money. Like that's the whole thing, is install solar panels on people's houses, do it more, do it faster, and do it better. And that's that. So their environment is huge. I love this one. I try to live by this one a lot, which is if I'm gonna spend time around people, I'm gonna enjoy my time. If I'm not enjoying my time, I am ruthless. I will just walk away and not talk to you, or I will not be your friend, or I will leave the party, whatever that I feel like my time is being wasted. I'm very, very intentional about where I spend my time. Okay, the last study that I found here, finding number 7, it takes longer than you think. None of the self-made millionaires studied got rich quickly. It took them an average of 72 years to become millionaires. For the big company climbers, it took them 22 years, and it took 21 years for the virtuosos and 12 years for the entrepreneurs. 80% of participants in the study were 50 years or older. This one's pretty surprising to me. I think when we see people online, and because we have so much access to information and access to these wealthy people, we think it's way more common than it is. I asked my fiance the other day, how many people do you think in America make over $500,000 a year? Her guess was 5%. The real answer, roughly 0.8% to 1.1%. So 1% of people make over $500,000 a year. And it drops significantly too when you get to $1 million. But it takes long. The average people are over 50. I don't like this stat actually. I don't like this finding. I think that you can achieve $1 million a year if you build up the right skill sets. I've talked about this in previous videos. I think the problem with a lot of these studies for self-made millionaires is they're going and they're looking at all the different versions of self-made millionaires, people that were W-2 employees, corporate jobs, freelance work, all those things. If you look at the stat, or if you look at the study on here, it took them an average of 32 years. For entrepreneurs, it took an average of 12 years. So it's significantly less if you're an entrepreneur. And that's the point here that I want to make for this finding, is that if you want to be very successful, if you want to be a millionaire, there are certain avenues that you can take that will get you there way faster. They may be more difficult, but everything has its version of suffering. Suffering in a corporate job, if you want to climb the ladder in corporate and go from, a manager to a super manager to a regional to a district to a countrywide or CEO or something like that, that corporate ladder, the sacrifice and the suck there is like you got to deal with the corporate world. It takes time. You got to go and work in that office every day for 30 years before you get to that position. So that has its own suck. Yeah, entrepreneurs, you might have to work 80, 90 hours a week sometimes. You might be stressed out, but it takes way less. So like everything has its own suffering. And if you want to make $1 million a year, the fastest and best way to do it is in some form of entrepreneurship, owning your own business, or being in some version of sales where you're a 1099 rep, or being in something where you're creating content and you're making it for the masses. Something that you can multiply and have a lot of leverage on. So the difference for this one and the point of this study is that the average millionaire took 32 years, the average entrepreneur took 12 years. So find something that you can do on your own, that can be yours, that you can own a piece of, so that you can make a lot more money a lot faster. So those are the 7 findings that when we looked up these videos, we found that a lot of the millionaires have a lot of things in common. And I wanted to kind of give you some of my points on here because I became a millionaire at 25 years old. And so I became very, very young, and it wasn't easy. There's nothing easy about it. And I think a couple big takeaways that I have after reading all this are, number one, the vehicle or the opportunity vehicle you're in is so much more important than you think. Meaning, if you are in a W-2 position, if you are in a company, a corporation, let's say you are an accountant, right? And you're working for a firm and your salary is $80,000 a year. How long is it going to take you to get to $1 million a year? Is it even possible to get to $1 million a year? Like, how would you do that? Well, you might not be able to, so you save all your money. And now after 32 years, you become a millionaire, right? Or that accountant could leave that firm, go be their own accountant, start hiring and training and building a company of your accounting firm. And then after 7 years, you have 2 or 3 other employees. Your business has, 500 people that they're doing taxes for. And now all of a sudden, the business's income is $1.7 million, and you're taking home 50% of that, which is $800,000. So that happened in 7 years compared to waiting 32 years. The point of this is like, what are you doing right now? What do you enjoy doing? Well, can you do it for yourself, and can you make more money doing it that way? I think people would be so surprised at how easy it actually is to go and start your own business once you get over that hump. The first part is really, really hard. Like getting your first client is the hardest thing in the world, but everything after that gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And if you are an accountant, or you are in marketing, or you are in sales, any of those things, if you went and did on your own and you took that leap of faith, you would make significantly more money significantly faster because you have all the leverage now. And so that's a big take I got out of this, is how to increase the speed. The second point I want to make is that people talk about passion a lot and do something you're passionate about. And they said in here that 86% of millionaires reported that they loved what they did. And again, that's an interesting study. Like if you take that at face value, you think all these people followed their passions. I don't think that's true, or I think there's the wrong definition of passion. I was passionate about making a lot of money. That was my passion when I got into sales. I didn't love solar panels. I didn't do solar because I'm like, I want to save the earth, and solar panels are the greatest thing to ever exist. I got into it because I'm like, I want to make a lot of money. I'm passionate about making a lot of money. Boom, let's do this. I can make a lot of money. Then a couple of years in, I go, wow, what I'm actually really passionate about is helping people. I love helping people. It's so enjoyable to serve and to knock on doors and to change someone's life when they go solar to save them all that money. Then I grew into management. Now I'm like, wow, I love helping people where I can hire somebody, and over the course of the next 2 years, they're gonna go from making $40,000 a year to $250,000 a year. I love that. So am I passionate about solar? No. but I'm passionate about a specific part of the business, yes. And that is like, you have to be passionate about the why and the how, not the what. So the what is solar. I'm not passionate about solar, but I'm passionate about the people that I work with and what I'm doing. So the why, I want to change people's lives. So if you are trying to become a millionaire, think of the things that you actually want to do, and then pick any business where you can do that thing, as like helping people. A lot of businesses help people. So pick anything that makes good, pick something that makes good money, not just that you love, because at the end of the day, when you're in business and you're scaling and you're trying to be a millionaire, all the businesses kind of start to look the same. You're doing marketing, you're doing sales, you're doing accounting, you're doing distribution, you're doing operations, all of that is pretty much the same throughout all the businesses. And the last point is the uncomfortable truth, which is the majority of people are not going to be millionaires. That's just the way it works. 0.01% means that 1 out of 1,000. That means that 999 people are not going to be millionaires for the one person that is. So it is not common. I know social media portrays it as common and like it's not that hard. It's very hard. That's why there's only a certain amount of people who do it. And it's uncomfortable. It's much easier to sit and watch reality TV shows, to not read, to make money and buy stupid shit and have fun and do all these crazy things. It's hard to spend 60 to 80 hours a week working, to not watch TV, to spend time reading. All those things are not easy. And so the reason why I think I became a millionaire at 25 years old is because I got obsessed with business. I got obsessed with learning about how to make this work and how to make money and how to do sales and how to lead. I got obsessed with building new skill sets. And I think that is the thing that separates somebody who might take 32 years to become a millionaire or somebody who may never become a millionaire at all, is there are people who just kind of dabble in it, they want it, and then there are people who obsess with it. And I think to become a millionaire in today's world, there's so much competition, there's so many things you can do. You have to find one thing and obsess over it. And that for me has always been business, sales, leadership, that kind of whole encompassing of what that all means. And become obsessed with it, do it a lot, get really good at it, enjoy it, and you will make a lot of money. I do not think it is common anymore for someone to stick with a company and from 2026 till 2045 work in the same company and grow the corporate ladder. I don't think that's common anymore. I think the world moves fast. AI changes the world a lot now. We don't even know what the world's gonna look like in 5 years. So you gotta find something that can pay you fast, and then you gotta do it for a long, do it as much as you can, as consistently as you can, so that you can become a millionaire faster. So this is a super interesting article and video for me to make and to look at these studies. The studies will have linked down below, and obviously you saw some of the stuff on the screen, but very, very interesting to learn and very surprising some things and other things not that surprising. So thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.